The original construction contract is not, well, I mean, it's simpler than the home improvement contract. It's not as long. Couple things. Number one, it must contain California State Licensing Board address. Did you know that your contract can have some problems in the court of law? It doesn't mean it's completely null and void, but it can have some serious problems if it doesn't have the state board's address on it. By law, it is supposed to have that on there, and a lawyer can find some loopholes and really cause you some damage if you don't put that on there. In other words, you can't just go to Staples, right, and buy those proposals in triplicate, and you get your nice handy dandy do-it-yourself little flip-top metal case, right, that contractors have to look important, and they slip them in there, and then they go on their job sites and they pull these up and they handwrite their proposals, and they just say, hey, we'll just sign this and this will be our contract. I mean, you know, that doesn't work. That's not a legal binding contract. That is nothing, okay? You can't do that. That's actually, you'd be really frowned upon if it ever got into a court of law, okay? So you got to be careful with those kinds of things. So like I said, it must contain California State Licensing Board address. It also must have the owner's name and address of that project, okay? It has to have that on there. It has to have the company name, address, and license number. So make sure you have that on there. Now, your company, believe it or not, state of California, you can look it up in your CD book, you cannot use a P.O. box. It has to be the physical address of where the office is. A lot of people try to think that they're going to hide by putting a P.O. box on their contracts. Doesn't work, ladies and gentlemen. Can't do it. Has to be wherever your office is. So if your office is at your home residence has to be the address on that contract. Okay, otherwise if it ever has problems, you can have some problems there. Okay. The other thing, it has to have a description of work to be accomplished. Obviously, you're not just going to write on there, remodel home, okay, sign this. You know, what does that mean? Well, that's going to obviously get you in a world of hurt. We'll talk more about that in the fourth class, class 401, as we go into detail on that. A payment schedule. A payment schedule is primarily used in residential community, not so much so in the commercial industry. Generally in the commercial industry, it's by percentage, so it's set up a little bit different. But you can do that with an original construction contract. It just depends on what you're using it for. Like I said, either residential or commercial. It needs to have the approximate start date and the completion date. Those are important. How many know your client wants to know you're going to be done in at least 6 months, you know? Camping out, staying here for a year, moving my kids in. All right, sweet. Barbecue every night. You know, that's not going to work. How many people have complained about contractors who said, oh yeah, you know, I could do this in 3 days, 6 months later. You know, we don't want that, right? You're probably losing money if that's happening. And also, the original construction contract usually contains some kind of warranties. Okay, remember that the state of California, we will deal with this later, but repetition is the mother of all learning, so I'll go ahead and give it to you. For observable defects, you are held liable for 4 years. Now, for any kind of major defects, 10 years you're held liable. So whatever you do, basically just consider yourself held liable for 10 years. You can give them a 1-year warranty all you want. It's not going to hold up. It doesn't mean anything. So, you know, you can try it. But, and some people buy into it, but basically you just got to know what the state holds you responsible for, which we'll be getting to later on. All right, so that's basically your original construction contracts. That's what you need to know for writing this kind of contract.